797 new COVID-19 cases today, marking a new daily high. 265 cases are in Toronto, 182 in Ottawa, 134 in Peel Region, and 78 in York Region. The province says there are 4 new deaths reported due to the virus today, along with 100 new COVID-19 cases related to schools, including at least 51 among students. Those bring the number of schools with a reported case to 415 out of Ontario's 4,828 publicly funded schools. 206 people are hospitalized in Ontario due to COVID-19, including 47 in intensive care. Ontario and its largest city appear to be at odds on how to tackle a spike in COVID-19 cases in Toronto that local health officials warned could quickly surpass the initial wave of the virus if left unchecked. Premier Doug Ford repeatedly voiced his reluctance to temporarily halt indoor dining in restaurants, one of several measures Toronto's top doctor requested last week. Though the province has not yet formally responded to Dr. Eileen Davila's proposal, Ford said he believes most restaurant owners are following public health guidelines and should not be penalized due to a few bad actors. Davila, meanwhile, stressed the need for swift action as she released new projections suggesting that if the current state of COVID-19 transmission is maintained, cases could surpass the city's April peak in the next few weeks. The governor of the Bank of Canada says managing the risks from the pandemic is more critical than ever, saying it is key to a recovery and the stability of society. Governor Tiff Macklem has identified a few of the risks the bank will be keeping an eye on, including how many companies and households can't keep up with debt and mortgage payments. Companies and households who have been given a financial lifeline during the pandemic, including deferrals on mortgage payments, a drop in the central bank's key policy rate, and billions in federal aid and credit programs. While those actions have cushioned the economic blow from the pandemic, Macklem says the country may be vulnerable to future shocks. But it's not the only risk Macklem warns about, pointing to the long-term impacts climate change will have on the financial system and domestic economy.
Webb didn't get down to the net, but it's not out. Frost has it back for Sault Ste. Marie.
If the Ontario Hockey League wants to have a 2020-2021 season, it will have to remove physical contact from the game. That's Ontario Hockey League, in case you were confused. Lisa MacLeod, Ontario's Minister of Heritage, Sports, Tourism and Culture Industries, addressed the OHL's return to play plan yesterday, which he said is currently targeting an early December start date. However, MacLeod said steps have to be taken by the OHL to slow the spread of COVID-19, including removing close physical contact among players. MacLeod said that her ministry and the OHL are in constant contact as they try to come up with a reopening plan for the 20-team league. Daniel LaPrade is up next with your local weather right after this.
Back on your Thursday, October the 8th. Everybody has enjoyed their day. Bit of a mixed bag today with the heavy rain in the morning, showers passing through, sun peaks out for a bit, then the clouds come back, and well, we will see some fog overnight. So that's quite a bit of everything today except snow. All right, low pressure is over Wawa right now. There's some lingering showers in that area as well as throughout down just past our region and into Elliott Lake. Not a whole lot to speak about now as things have moved through. Let's look at our camera. And as mentioned, well, cloudy. Sun was out for a little bit, and then we did see some rain. Our camera, by the way, is brought to you by wirelesscom.ca. Check their website out for all their services. So it's still a good time if you know the temperatures are up there if you want to go for a walk, but make sure you bring your umbrella with you because you could see a lingering shower pop up out of nowhere and you'll get soaked. All right, your expected highs for today were 14 in Thunder Bay, 9 in Wawa, 8 in Timmins, 12 here in Sault Ste. Marie, 10 in Elliott Lake, and 9 in Sudbury. Overnight lows are not much different from yesterday. 5 degrees in Thunder Bay, 3 in Wawa, -1 in Timmins, 6 here in Sault Ste. Marie, 2 in Elliott Lake, and 1 in Sudbury. So as mentioned, we are seeing a trend where we're cooling down at night, but those daytime temperatures are still remaining in the double digits. Normals for this time of year are 13 as your high and 3 as your overnight low. All right, so as mentioned, tonight we will get into some fog patches overnight. Winds will die down a little bit, gusting from 20 kilometers an hour to 40. And then they will slow down to 20 kilometers by the morning northwest. Friday, mainly cloudy, 60% chance of showers in the afternoon. Fog patches will dissipate in the morning, and winds will become southeast, 20 kilometers gusting to 40 late in the morning. High of 16 on Friday, and a low of 10 overnight. Cloudy periods with a 40% chance of a shower. So here we get into your long Thanksgiving weekend here. Saturday, you are looking at mainly sunny, 14 degrees. Clear overnight with a low of 6, so beautiful start to the weekend. Sunday, things continue to be pretty good too, 12 degrees with a low of 7, and we're looking at cloudy periods overnight on Sunday. And want to thank Northern Lights Detailing for sponsoring the weather. They are at 632 Great Northern Road, where they also want to remind you that if you go in this month, the month of October, and get a detailing service, any detailing service, that you can get $10 coupon towards any window tinting that you may need. So Monday has changed for now, 15 degrees, but we may see some rain coming in throughout the day and into the evening and overnight. We'll stay cloudy on Tuesday and then back to mix of sun and cloud for the rest of the week. Overnight lows staying in single digits on a few of the nights, but we're pretty high up there, close to double digits, and 10 degrees for 3 of the 7 nights. So let's enjoy that while it is still warm overnight compared to our normal, which is 3. Might want to start looking at booking your appointments soon, though, to get those snow tires on. We don't want to get complacent, even though the weather has been great. Weather Watcher photo, sunflower sent in by Sherilyn Stubbs. Thank you very much. This is one of many photos I've received this week, and we've been receiving them from many different areas throughout the country, so thank you to our many viewers. Send your photos and videos, weather-related, to ontvweather@gmail.com. Include your name and location. They go up on First Local, of course, into the newscast, and they also go to SiouxOnline.com, which then puts them on our Facebook and Twitter feed, so everybody gets to see your photo. So make sure you send them in. While you're on SiouxOnline.com or myalgoma.ca, take the time to go over to the right side of the screen, click on the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram pages, follow them all, whatever you want to do, subscribe to YouTube, and you can check everything out there on demand and view every story that we present to you as well. Mike will be back with more news right after this. Have a great evening, everybody.
An industry group says the federal government's plan to ban some single-use plastics products by labeling them toxic to the environment is defamatory and harmful to the companies that produce them. Environment Minister Jonathan Wilkinson announced a list of 6 single-use plastic items that will be banned because they're both harmful to the environment and difficult to recycle. To do that, Wilkinson says he will add plastic manufactured items to the toxic substances list under the Canadian Environmental Protection Act. Things on that list must then be managed to limit their release into the environment. Elena Montegaris, the Vice President of the Plastics Division at the Chemistry Industry Association of Canada, said plastic products don't belong anywhere near a list of harmful products that includes mercury, asbestos, and lead. The federal and Ontario governments are each chipping in more than $250 million to mass-produce electric vehicles and the batteries that power them at the Ford Motor Plant in Oakville. The joint investment is part of a 3-year agreement worth nearly $2 billion that was announced last month between the automaker and Unifor, the union that represents auto workers in Canada. The Oakville plant employs 3,400 Ford workers, and Unifor President Jerry Diaz has said retooling the plant to produce electric vehicles will save 3,000 of those jobs. The federal government also hopes the new investment will help boost homegrown mining companies that produce the nickel and other metals used to make the batteries for electric vehicles. A violent plot to overthrow the government and kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has been thwarted by the FBI. According to a federal affidavit filed today, the alleged plot involved reaching out to members of a Michigan militia, which has not been named, as well as conducting surveillance of Whitmer's personal vacation home. The court filing also alleges the conspirators discussed kidnapping Whitmer and taking her to a secure location in Wisconsin to stand trial for treason. More than 12 people have been arrested on state and federal charges. Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey condemned the alleged plot, saying, quote, "A threat against our governor is a threat against us all." The FBI says it first learned of the plot in early 2020 through social media.
This was a result of collaboration between local, state, and federal officials, coupled with
a group of Michigan doctors are applauding Governor Gretchen Whitmer's science-based response to COVID-19 while blasting Republican leaders' denials and obstruction. They're calling on GOP legislative leaders to support safeguards and protect public health. Dr. Farhan Bhatti, MD, Michigan State lead for the Committee to Protect Medicare, accuses Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey and House Speaker Lee Chatfield and their fellow legislators of, quote, dragging their feet. Shirkey said last week Michiganders must, quote, learn to live with the virus, even as he admitted the virus was ultimately going to win. Over the summer, Chatfield criticized and refused to support laws requiring people to wear masks in public, claiming people should have the choice of wearing a mask during a global pandemic. Ontario's patient ombudsman has released a series of recommendations on reforming the province's long-term care system to prepare for a resurgence of COVID-19. The office began a formal investigation, which is ongoing, into long-term care in June after receiving hundreds of complaints in the early days of the pandemic. It has since come out with 4 preliminary recommendations aimed at improving Ontario's response to COVID-19 and preparing for a second wave in long-term care. The first is for all healthcare providers to have backstops and contingency plans in place to deal with an outbreak of the novel coronavirus. The other recommendations include enhanced whistleblower protections, dedicated communications resources, and a new approach to visitation. A Toronto hospital network says about 150 patients have been affected by a data breach in which their medical records were allegedly used in an extortion attempt involving a third-party provider. Unity Health Toronto says a former employee with Nuance Communications, who provided transcription services for doctors, allegedly held on to records belonging to patients from St. Michael's Hospital after leaving the company. It alleges that in March, the person then used the records in an attempt to get money from Nuance. The health network says the records contained patient names, medical history, diagnoses, and treatments. Nuance reported the incident to police, and officers seized a computer believed to contain the patient information. I'm Mike McDonald. We have more news and weather coming up.